So I've been off steroids for about 10 months now. I'm around 92.5 kilograms or 204 pounds of body weight, hovering around 10 to 12% body fat. Total testosterone is currently 820 nanograms per deciliter. Estradiol, 44 picograms per milliliter. Total semen count per ejaculate, 407.3 million, with 80% motility, 35% morphology, and only 6% DNA fragmentation. Everything looks good on paper, but I still feel like Vigorous Steve here. So it's been a while since I've done a full blood work and semen analysis update video here on YouTube, even though I've been doing it consistently every single month for over a year. I wanted to do a before and after blood work analysis video for my trip to the United States, but when I came back, my blood work was terrible. It was really, really bad. My high sensitivity C-reactive protein was 11 milligrams per liter. My lipids were all over the place. Pancreatic enzymes were messed up. I had mild instances of myocarditis walking around the United States, and elevated D-dimer when I came back to Thailand, but no indication that I suffered from a flurona infection at any point in time, as proven with blood work and a multitude of flurona tests, which I did at home and while traveling. So was this all diet related? I'm not entirely sure, but needless to say, the next time I go to the United States, I will not be eating any meal outside anymore. I'll just book Airbnbs and cook all of my own meals. And before you ask, no, my wife is not pregnant yet. We've been trying now for 7 months. This is probably one of the reasons why I don't feel 100% currently, because based on my fertility parameters and the fertility investigations that we've done on my wife, everything looks absolutely perfect. I mean, my fertility parameters look absolutely stellar, especially considering I took anabolic androgenic steroids and all kinds of performance-enhancing drugs for over a decade. My wife's ovaries and oocytes look totally normal as well. She has 7 developing eggs per ovary. Her endometrial lining looks absolutely normal every time we've measured it. And she never missed a period, even when she was competing. Never suffered from polycystic ovarian disease, PCOS. Never had any cysts or issues with her reproductive tract ever. But I shouldn't really complain too much, because we both used low-dose Accutane for years in duration to kind of keep the acne at bay. And even though we stopped Accutane, I think 1.5 years ago, there's some tangible evidence that Accutane is not good for overall fertility parameters. At various stages of our lives, we used performance-enhancing drugs. I'm still using them. I'm using fertility peptides and a growth hormone and IGF-1, which has some scientific evidence behind it that it might be good for overall fertility in men and women. My wife discontinued the PEDs years ago. She removed her copper IUD, let's say a little bit over a year ago. She used the copper IUD the entire time she was competing. We both got double mandated 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So if you believe into conspiracy theories, I mean, there's some, some negative effect on fertility there potentially. But what is most important is that my wife is 40 years old. And as you get older, the chances of conceiving per time just get less and less and less. According to the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, when women reach the age of 40, there's only a 5% chance of conception every time you try. Female fertility generally declines after the age of 30. When a woman is 30 years old, there might be a 20% chance that she gets pregnant every time you try to conceive or at the time of ovulation. At 35 years old, there's only a 10% chance. At 40 years old, there's only a 5% chance. And even though me and my wife don't really identify as general population, right? We eat completely healthy. We're in a very low oxidative stress state. We go to the gym. I think we've been taking excellent care of our body. Our fertility parameters don't show that we're 40 years old. We're well ahead of typical 40 years old. But still, the statistics are not going to lie. They're not very in our favor. 40 years old, 5% chance. If you do the calculations, it might take 20 months, 1.5 years before she's pregnant. So we're going to give it, let's say, 1 year of trying to conceive normally, naturally, without any assistance besides the fertility medications that I'm on, obviously, and all of the antioxidants that are known to help with fertility parameters for both my wife and myself. 7 months down, technically 13 months to go, but we're going to give it another 5 months before we start seeking some medical assistance, I would say. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go into my blood work results and my overall progress pictures, because I posted those on Instagram, even though I didn't really feel like posting them because I felt extremely self-conscious. after I took those pictures. I woke up Sunday morning, I looked in the bathroom mirror, I felt good about myself, I had some striations and separation, everything looked nice and dry and full, right? I was happy and ready to take my progress pictures. And then after you take your progress pictures, I was completely demoralized. Yeah, and I don't know why, because when I look at my progress pictures now, let's say 3 days later, they look good again. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years, and taking the progress pictures, it still messes me up for days. Here's a video of the exact same moment in time last Sunday morning. I took my pictures and I took a little bit of video to see what I looked like. I think I look better in the video than I do in the pictures, but I guess you guys are going to either be very complimentary or tear me apart in the comment section, which is ultimately what the comment section is all about. All right, let's move over to the current fertility/performance-enhancing drug protocol. I literally removed everything, all of the PEDs and nootropics and anything else that doesn't really have tangible fertility data behind it. Now, when you look at the list, you see growth hormone and Increlex, IGF-1, both recombinant human versions. You might say that that's not entirely fertility approved, but from all of the research that I've done, it shows that normal, sufficient growth hormone levels and normal, sufficient IGF-1 levels in serum actually have a positive effect on fertility parameters in both men and women. So this is my thinking behind it. And honestly, I need a little bit of performance-enhancing drug boost, because otherwise I'll probably go insane. Feel free to point out my mistakes in the comment section. At this point in time, I will humble the fuck up and take any advice that I can get. So the current fertility/PD protocol is HCG, right? Merck Ovitrel, 1,000 IUs 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Merck Gonal F, recombinant follicle-stimulating hormone, 75 IUs every single day. Merck Serrano Sizin, growth hormone, 1.2 IUs upon waking before fasted cardio to induce a little bit of lipolysis, and 1.2 IUs before the workout 4 times per week. And on the remaining 3 days per week, I take 1.2 IUs sub-Q before bed. And I take Ipsen Increlex, pharmaceutical recombinant IGF-1. I take 250 micrograms bilaterally, intramuscularly, mostly in the chest, 4 times per week. So even though I train legs, for example, or a back day, I still put the IGF-1 in my chest, and I feel that it's helping with chest fullness to a certain extent. 4 times per week, so that's 2,000 micrograms per week in total. I don't take it on rest days. I've ran that experiment. I feel that this is enough for a suitable pump and have a very enjoyable and very fun workout. That being said, I did experiment a little bit with long-acting insulin here and there, 5 IUs, 10 IUs upon waking, Lantus Solo Star, but I can't get the same effect cosmetically compared to Ipsen Increlex. So since I have access to it and still have a boatload of boxes in my fridge for me and me alone, I'm going to run it while I'm off everything else. I'm using Bayer Tationil injectable glutathione, 600 milligrams over 4 milliliters, 2 additional injections intramuscularly in the week leading up to conception, because I take 1,800 milligrams injectable glutathione intravenously. On Monday, we'll get to that a little bit later. So that's only increased antioxidant intake in the form of glutathione in the week leading up to conception, because most of the oxidative stress on semen occurs in the seminal vesicles of the prostate. But I don't need to take that the entire month, only in the week leading up to conception, which is where potentially most of the oxidative stress on the DNA and the semen could occur, which is the semen that I'm going to donate into my wife's uterus, right? So only 1 week, I take that. I take 500 milligrams injectable carnitine before fasted cardio and before the workout 4 times per week. So that's, let's say, anywhere between 500 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams injectable L-carnitine per day. And I take 25 milligrams DHEA upon waking, because I saw that my DHEA sulfate levels were declining slowly but steadily over the last couple of months. So I'm supplementing a little bit with it. Apparently, Merck Ovitrel HCG at 1,000 IUs 3 times per week is not sufficient to stimulate DHEA and DHEA sulfur production in my adrenal gland. So supplementation is the way to go. And I'm using Aspen L-Troxin T4 thyroxine, 100 micrograms per day, 50 micrograms in the morning and 50 micrograms in the afternoon, because I felt that my metabolism was not really going in the way I wanted to, and my thyroid stimulating hormone was slightly elevated when I was running growth hormone and IGF-1 solo. I'm doing the following: mitochondrial support / anti-aging IV stack. In 500 milliliters normal saline solution, I mix 200 milligrams NAD+, 1,800 milligrams injectable glutathione, 5,000 milligrams injectable vitamin C, and a B100 complex containing 100 milligrams of the B vitamins, which are on the screen. Takes about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to absorb completely. Not too fast, otherwise it feels very uncomfortable, especially the NAD+. And I feel that so far it's contributing really to my energy levels and potentially to my fertility parameters, albeit that only from vitamin C and glutathione, there's actually some tangible evidence that it has a positive effect on fertility, right? NAD+, NMN, NR, a lot of studies that still need to be performed on these compounds, but so far so good, I would say. And I'm slowly but surely getting leaner. This is the mindfuck of social media nowadays. I really like the way I look from a lean perspective, but for social media, you can always be leaner. And I realized a long time ago that this Moonface Vigorous Steve is not very appealing for you guys to watch, and it's also not good for business. So I do prefer to be in a caloric restrictive state to grow this YouTube channel a little bit more, because again, leaner is better when it comes to self-marketing, but it's probably coming at my detriment. I think that I'm right now, after months and months of caloric restriction, it's starting to affect my mood and overall sense of well-being and my overall cognition, even though my productivity is still quite good, I would say. So I think I can squeeze out another month or two, let's say January, February, March the latest. And then I really need to increase my calories. All right, so it's a pretty basic diet. Let's be honest, egg whites, whole eggs, chia seeds with every meal, a little bit of almonds or avocado in the morning. It's usually avocado. Big fat salads in the morning, right? That's green leafy vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, some olives, pickles, some horseradish, and bell peppers. That's usually the basic vegetables that I ate. Second meal is either a pre-workout protein shake. I take a Granamol nitric maybe once or twice per week before leg day, depending on if I need it. And if I feel that I'm going to have a killer workout, then I want to take that workout a little bit to the next level, but not too much to the point I can't recover from it because, well, anabolic androgenic steroids are not in the picture at the moment. So it's Granamol nitric occasionally. I always take essential amino acids, always take collagen peptides, whether that's from Sports Research or Gorilla Mind, right? I put that together and then adding in a little bit of electrolytes from Gorilla Mind or Himalaya pink salt to help with the pumps. And if I don't go to the gym, so that's the other 3 days of the week, I have some sort of basic chicken meal with some salad, vegetables, and a little bit of fat here and there. Post-workout, I have 300 grams of salmon, and then before bed at 2 a.m. Yes, I go to bed at 4 a.m. Maybe that's also not the correct way to do things because I'm living far outside of my circadian rhythm, and maybe that's also contributing to my not feeling 100% optimized currently. That being said, at 2 a.m. is 300 grams of beef for me with another big fat salad. 2,400 calories, but I might have a little bit more here and there, right? Maybe the fruit that I have post-workout 4 times per week is 300 grams of pineapple and 300 grams of watermelon and maybe 200 grams of blueberry. So I overshoot depending on how hungry I am that day. And obviously on Sunday, this diet is completely off the rails. I might have some egg whites and whole eggs in the morning, have some salads. And then after that, well, it's basically a seafood diet. That being said, I still make healthy choices when I go out to dinner with my wife or friends, right? Gourmet hamburgers, sushi, some nice Italian food. I try to make sure that I get adequate amounts of protein and that the meals don't contain exorbitant amounts of unhealthy fats. And I might have some cheesecake here and there, right? Or some ice cream because, well, cheesecake and ice cream, that's bae. And besides the diet, with the following supplementation protocol, I more than reach my daily micronutrient requirements. Some of these supplements are for overall health, general well-being. Some of these are specifically in there for fertility or semen volume. So we have a general multivitamin in the morning and evening, vitamin B100 complex split morning and evening, vitamin C, 5,000 milligrams per day, except on the day I do my intravenous vitamin C administration because I don't need 10,000 milligrams vitamin C, obviously, duh. I take a vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs upon awakening, vitamin E, 400 IUs upon waking, and I take the Jarrow Formulas K-Rite complex with 2,000 IUs of vitamin D3, so that's 7,000 IUs D3 in total, 500 micrograms vitamin K1, 1,500 micrograms vitamin K2, MK4, and 180 micrograms vitamin K2, MK7, all combined into a single capsule. I did a calcium score, came back 0, so we're good there. Magnesium glycinate, 1,000 milligrams per day. Selenium, I get about 600 micrograms total daily from dietary sources, so I don't supplement with selenium because I already get enough from my diet. Selenium is very good for semen volume. Taurine, 5,000 milligrams per day total, 1,000 milligrams with meals. And I take 100 milligrams zinc glycinate on top of whatever zinc I get from my diet. So let's say I get about 120, 125 milligrams of zinc over the day. It might be excessive, but when you look at my testosterone levels and my semen parameters, it might make sense. Besides the micronutrients, I take 100 milligrams 5-HTP for sleep quality and overall mood. Apple cider vinegar, 750 milligram tablets with meals to help with digestion. 500 milligrams berberine morning and evening on Sunday when I do go out for cheat meals. I used to take Muscle-Tech Betator, beta-hydroxy beta-methylbutyrate, HMB-free acid, but I think I ran out about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And ever since I stopped the HMB, I've been getting progressively more and more sore. And now I'm at a point where I'm so sore with the exact same training intensity and the exact same training volume that I think it's making me extremely lethargic and tired. Now, I'm not entirely sure if it's solely due to the HMB that I've been feeling off for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I think that's the closest correlation that I could pinpoint if I go back down my notes, right? My diet hasn't changed, my training hasn't changed, my performance-enhancing drug intake hasn't changed, and nothing on my over-the-counter supplementation protocol has changed besides removing the HMB. So I already ordered another bottle, and we'll put that to the test. If the HMB addition makes me feel good again, makes me feel energetic, less sore, less fatigued, and less, let's say, unmotivated at times, then HMB is a viable option to run alongside whatever else that I'm doing to keep me somewhat going. I introduced D-Chiro-Inositol to see if it can potentially increase testosterone levels, but also lower serum estradiol levels, which didn't really seem to happen. The scientific evidence shows that 1,000 milligrams D-Chiro-Inositol can actually inhibit or downregulate aromatase enzyme activity and thus increase testosterone levels in otherwise androgen-deficient men. I'll link the studies down below. I got this idea from Andrew Huberman, who discussed D-Chiro-Inositol and myo-inositol in the context of improving male and female fertility in one of his fertility podcasts. I'll link it down below with the correct timestamp. So I did some research and I put my wife on 2,000 milligrams myo-inositol plus 50 milligrams D-Chiro-Inositol. And after doing some additional research, I started with 500 milligrams D-Chiro-Inositol for myself, albeit that the scientific evidence shows that I might need to double that to 1,000 milligrams. I might do that or not, depending on how I feel and how everything falls into place, fingers crossed, over the next couple of weeks. I take 800 milligrams fish oil with every single meal, so that's 5 times per day. I get L-lysine, 2,500 milligrams total daily from dietary sources, also good for semen volume, so you don't need to supplement with that, right? 2,500 milligrams of lysine is way more than you would otherwise recommend for supplemental intake to improve semen volume. 1,000 milligrams N-acetylcysteine twice per day, morning and evening. Nicotinamide mononucleotide, 175 milligrams with meals to sustain my NAD+ levels, which I inject intravenously on Monday. 28 milligrams saffron extract, 100 milligrams ubiquinol morning and evening, and 200 to 400 milligrams ubiquinol pre-workout. So that could be anywhere between 200 milligrams to 600 milligrams ubiquinol per day. Ubiquinol is very good for fertility parameters, so I'm really on top of that. And then depending on my workload, I might just take a scoop of Gorilla-Mind Respawn or make a homemade cocktail of a combination of L-tyrosine, L-tryptophan, alpha-GPC, uridine 5-monophosphate, and some caffeine here and there to stay cognitive and productive for the next couple of hours, like I discussed in the Entrepreneur Nootropic Deep Dive video series. This is my current split. Monday, I do push day, so that's chest, shoulders, and triceps. On Tuesday, I do legs A, so that's quads, adductors, and calves. Wednesday is a rest day. Thursday is pull day, back, rear delts, biceps, and traps. And Friday is legs B, workout, hamstrings, adductors, glutes, and calves. On Saturday and Sunday, I also rest. So that's 4 workouts per week. Somewhat intense, but not super intense. I do about 3 or 4 exercises per body part, sometimes only 2, right? It really depends on how I feel and if I feel that I need to work extra hard to sustain the body parts in a respectable shape compared to all of the other body parts, whereas some other body parts are so easy to maintain. I literally only need 2 exercises and 1 working set per exercise to get the job done. I mean, these biceps, that's 2 or 3 sets per week. Yeah, it's insane, but that's genetics, baby. Okay, moving over to the blood work results, which is one of the reasons why you came here for, to see how bad or how good my blood work is now after 10 months of being off the juice. And let's go through this a little bit quicker than usual, because I'm sure you guys are all familiar with my explanations on what each marker exactly entails. So let's just get started with the urinalysis. I was hydrated. You can see that from the specific gravity being low. You see that my complete blood count is very representative of a guy who has been off steroids for a very long time, because my hematocrit is only 44% and my red blood cell count is 4.85 million cells per cubic millimeter. So that's not entirely high enough for great endurance or great stamina in the gym, but it's high enough to have a somewhat enjoyable workout. Blood chemistry. Blood sugar was 86 milligrams per deciliter, probably because I had a cup of coffee before going in for blood work. Blood urea nitrogen is only 16.4 milligrams per deciliter because I don't eat so much protein anymore. Creatinine still somewhat elevated, 1.33 milligrams per deciliter, slightly over the reference range. I'm not worried about that. I've had it much higher in the past. Uric acid is nice and low because I stay hydrated. Creatine phosphokinase is only 700 units per liter because I don't train at the same intensity I used to. My CPK used to be 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 units per liter. Yeah, the days of insanity are gone. Lactose dehydrogenase is a little bit towards the top of the reference range, but not out of the reference range. It's also a marker for training intensity. Lipase, amylase are normal again after going to the United States. These were like 25%, 30% out of the reference range when I came back from the USA. Insane. C-reactive protein was 11 milligrams per liter and now 0.4 milligrams per liter, so we're not inflamed anymore. D-dimer came back to normal parameters. Homocysteine is normal. I just wanted to check if other inflammatory markers were off, but my neutrophil to lymphocyte ratio was normal, and now my CRP and homocysteine levels also normal. And my cystatin C levels are normal, which I always check whenever I check my kidney marker. So that cystatin C is a very good indication of kidney health. 0.84 milligrams per liter, falling in the middle of the reference range, I would say. It's a little bit higher than it is normally, but it's probably because I don't drink so much water as I used to. I think I'm consuming about 4 to 5 liters of water over the day, whereas before it might have been 8 liters, 10 liters, even 12 liters when I was training my socks off and eating a boatload of food. Next one, lipid profile. Again, within normal parameters, total cholesterol 171, HDL 63, and LDL cholesterol 104, 4 points out of the reference range. I'm not worried about that because it was way worse after coming back from the United States. Liver function, all normal. AST is slightly elevated, certainly a lot better than it used to be on cycle. On cycle, I'd be like 50, 80, maybe 100 units per liter. Iron study is completely normal. I've been eating beef in my diet regularly ever since I came off cycle. On cycle, I can't really eat beef that often. Otherwise, my serum iron levels really go too high and my hematocrit and red blood cell count goes up to match. But off cycle, I can eat as much beef as I want to. Yes, all that creatine elevating my serum creatinine levels. Great. Moving over to my hormone panel, you see that my thyroid function is completely normal, albeit that thyroid stimulating hormone is a little bit higher compared to the last time. Could be a moment in time. Last time TSH was about, I think around 2 micro IUs per milliliter, and now it's 3.21 micro IUs per milliliter with all other thyroid hormones in range. Keep in mind that I'm supplementing with T4, 100 micrograms in total, 50 micrograms morning and afternoon. Growth hormone is normal because I injected growth hormone the night before and it's already completely metabolized. And IGF-1 obviously is elevated from the 500 microgram administration, which I did the day prior. And thus my IGF-1 levels is, let's say, 50% out of the reference range, which is pretty good for overall fullness and energy levels during the workout. IGF binding protein 3 is still towards the top of the reference range, so not disproportionately elevated. Good amount of this IGF-1 is free. Keep in mind, I do intramuscular administrations. I don't want my IGF-1 to be elevated in serum, but I want it to be high in the muscle that I'm injecting it into, being the chest, obviously. And I think so far it's somewhat effective. Okay. Moving over to the other hormones, beta-HCG is elevated because I administered Merck Ovitrel 1,000 IUs the day before. So that's, let's say, 25 milli IUs per milliliter. So me personally, yours truly, definitely pregnant. Estradiol, 43.8 picograms per milliliter. FSH, administering 75 IUs recombinant FSH the day before, 3.12 milli-IUs per milliliter. LH, still non-existent. Progesterone is elevated, so I decided to take the pregnenolone out for now and solely rely on DHEA. And maybe this progesterone is just elevated from the copious amount of ATG and FSH that I've been taking the last couple of months. Prolactin is normal, middle of the reference range, 10 nanograms per milliliter. Libido is as good as it can be without anabolic androgenic steroids and being in a caloric deficit for a very long time. DHA sulfate is a little bit higher than last time. Last time was about 100 micrograms per deciliter. Now I'm happy to see that it doubled, close to 200 micrograms per deciliter. Albumin 4.6, needed for bioavailable testosterone. Total testosterone, let's say 817.52 nanograms per deciliter, almost 820. Baby, free testosterone 14.2, because my SHBG is 49 nanomoles per liter, but bioavailable testosterone at least being partially weakly bound to albumin over the reference range at 356 nanograms per deciliter. So all of this looks great, right? I shouldn't complain, right? I can't say that I'm androgen deficient, right? But somehow it feels like it's not there, like the testosterone is not there. And it's been an upwards journey the last couple of months. I had a severe dip after I came off PEDs and my testicular function was somewhat recovering. I've had levels between, let's say, 600 and 900 nanograms per deciliter. And now it's proven with this latest blood work, it's close to the highest number I ever got over these last 10 months that I've been off cycle. It doesn't feel that way. Anyway, well, we'll address that a little bit later on in this video. Let's have a look at my fertility parameters, which, well, insane. As of the last semen analysis, last week, total semen volume 3.5 milliliters, pH is normal at 8, normal viscosity, liquefaction time 10 minutes, viability 86%, so 86% of the semen is alive. So that's well over the World Health Organization established criteria of 2010 of 54%. Moving over to the sperm concentration, 116.4 million per milliliter. Total sperm count, 403.7 million per ejaculate. For all the guys who told me, Steve, you should stay on TRT, I challenge you right now and here. Produce similar semen analysis results of you using the exact same fertility medications on TRT. Could be 50 milligrams testosterone per week, 100 milligrams, 200, 300 milligrams TRT plus, generous TRT for bodybuilders. Show me that HCG, FSH, and exogenous testosterone can produce semen parameters like this, right? I'm 40 years old. I understood that my wife had limited chances per conception round to get pregnant. So I had to ensure my semen parameters as a man were as high as they could be. And I think this is absolutely fucking stellar for everything that I've done in the past. Show me a guy on TRT that has a motility of 80%, progressive motility 68%, non-progressive motility only 12%. Total motile sperm, 325.8 million. Right? Show me a guy on TRT who has that. And sperm morphology is 35%. The World Health Organization criteria of 2010, it should be over 4%, and with strict criteria, it should be over 14%. But if they calculate it strictly at this fertility clinic, my sperm morphology is 24%, which is still pretty fucking good. Could be better, right? I mean, morphology of 42% would be better. The highest that I got was 39% last year. Of course, there's going to be some fluctuations here and there in different semen analyses results. But I would say that based on the last couple of results, morphology, progressive motility, total semen count, fucking good. All right, so based on the lab conclusion, it's normozoospermia. All is in the green. And here's a picture of my semen for all you lusty guys out there. Please carefully assess the morphology. Normal means normal morphology and abnormal means abnormal morphology. The abnormal ones are not the ones that you're looking for. So this results in a normal morphology of approximately 35%. 24% if you're strict about it. So yeah, let's keep this on the screen a little bit longer. I didn't mean to get all the semen in your eye, but now that it's in your eye, you better well enjoy it. And here's the DNA fragmentation results. You see that of the 523 cells analyzed, 7% has a large halo, 87% has a medium halo, resulting in DNA fragmentation of only 6%, which The fertility specialist that I talked to was surprised that it was so low. He asked me, when the consultation was over, what are you doing? I said, well, vitamin C, ubiquinol, injectable glutathione, NAD+, nicotinamide mononucleotide. And he put the pen to paper and wrote it all down so he could help all of his other fertility clients. So I think I'm doing it right, but so far no luck, unfortunately. And while we're talking about semen, let me briefly highlight another semen analysis results from a couple months ago, from September. You see that the total volume is 4 milliliter, but it had abnormal viscosity. Not entirely sure why, but it could be the abstinence time or the time that I took between entering the room and leaving the room with the donation sample. Sometimes it goes a little bit faster than other times, right? No foreplay involved, unfortunately, when you do semen donation. Sperm concentration at the time was 137.1 million per milliliter, a total sperm count of 550 million per ejaculate. Yeah, baby. But the motility was only 63% with a progressive motility of 53%, still over what is required to get somebody pregnant. At the time, sperm morphology was 39%, but that was the time I took 600 milligrams injectable glutathione 4 times per week and IV glutathione 1800 milligrams once per week. So I reduced the antioxidants significantly. And at the time of the previous semen analysis, I wasn't on that much injectable glutathione because it wasn't around ovulation/conception day. Let's see, strict criteria was 28%. So again, that's a little bit better than the previous results. And when we look at the DNA fragmentation, even though I was taking more glutathione at the time, the DNA fragmentation was 13%, 15% large halo, and 72% medium halo. So again, some fluctuations is to be expected. Some results are going to be exceptionally good, and others might be good, but not exceptionally stellar like other ones are. So again, I've done so many semen analysis now to the point, I can start running graphs, but we'll do the graph analysis when I have good news for you guys, and I can actually make a video about how to get your wife pregnant after running performance-enhancing drugs, because, I need to get my wife pregnant first. Otherwise, it would be lying, right? And we got enough liars in the fitness industry already. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, everything on paper looks very, very good, if I do say so myself. Blood work analysis looks great. Fertility analysis, semen parameters, absolutely great. But I don't feel great. And I don't know why, right? I'm open to suggestions. Let me know down below in the comment section what I'm doing wrong and what your suggestions might be for me to feel a little bit better. I can troubleshoot, right? Is it because I removed the Bedator HMB 2-3 weeks ago and now I'm sore all the time and fatigued all the time and unmotivated most of the time? Not entirely sure. It will arrive in a couple days, so hopefully that can kind of cure my situation. Is it because I haven't been sleeping according to my circadian rhythm for months now, and even though I'm supplementing with vitamin D3, somewhere I'm deficient and it's affecting my overall mood and sense of well-being? Is it because I've been in a caloric restrictive state for months now? Right? I don't want the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease back, and I do want to stay in shape for social media, but maybe it's just time to pull the plug and return the moon phase to previous levels. Or maybe it's because I've been busting nuts in my wife in an attempt to get her pregnant for months now, and every month the period still comes. It's been 7 fucking months of multiple nuts around ovulation time. No pregnancy yet. Right? It doesn't really make you feel like a man. I've been busting nuts into women for decades, and then when the time comes to get your favorite woman, your wife, pregnant, no luck. I'm basically going to give it another 5 months of trying, and then we'll look into HCG-stimulated ovulation or intrauterine insemination or in vitro fertilization. Right? There's a lot of opportunities and possibilities to get her pregnant through alternative routes. But for now, I'm just going to keep going, keep busting nuts around time of ovulation, and then fingers crossed, and please cross your fingers with me, that I do get her pregnant without having to resort to medical intervention. Not that it's expensive, not that I can't afford it, but I would like to prove to myself that I still got it, or that I have it in me, right? Without medical incentive. And if you feel that I need to come off the GH and the IGF-1 and whatever else, let me know, dude. At this point, I'm open to any kind of suggestion. But from all of the research that I've done, I think, and the results that I have, I think I'm doing it right. Anyway, I shouldn't be too hard on myself. I'm sure things will play out over the next couple of months. And man, if bodybuilding taught me anything, it's how to be hard on myself. It's fucking Horrible. Okay, let's leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find everything that I'm associated with down below in the YouTube description section. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at VigorSteve, Vigorous Crew. You guys know what to do. I mean, this frontal bicep is not bad at all. Still filling out the screen. Still got this 3D effect. Still fucking lean. Well, I'll figure it out over the next couple of months. Peace out, guys. See you in the next video.